Hi everybody, I'm Charlene Taibi from Interdigital. I'm going to present you the results of the evaluation we performed on cloud gaming platforms regarding the impacts of video encoding and networking constraints on quality of experience. As a quick introduction, it is worth noting that some articles highlight technical issues of commercial services, but none of them give a characterizations under various network conditions. In this paper, we analyze systematically these platforms for different network conditions and give some key takeaways and recommendations at the end. What were our motivation and objectives to perform this? We want to understand the technical choices and the limitations choices of major cloud gaming platforms. We decide to evaluate subjectively the quality of experience under various network conditions. And especially, we want to know what are the boundary conditions with acceptable quality of experience regarding playability. We will see later in the presentation the definition of what we call acceptable quality of experience and what we call playability. This quality of experience evaluation is realized under a first-person shooter game, which is a game type with higher latency constraints. We want also to analyze the bandwidth adaptations algorithm chosen by the cloud gaming services and the video codec choices. Finally, we want to come out with a set of key takeaways and recommendations. The rest of the presentation will follow this agenda. After a quick overview of cloud gaming principles, we'll see the methodology we use to perform the evaluations. I will then present you some of the results of the evaluation and then give you the outcomes of the analysis of the video encoding choices. Finally, I will present you the key takeaways and recommendations we done. So, what are the cloud gaming principles? In cloud gaming, the game execution is done in the cloud and the rendering scene is sent as a compressed video to the client. The end-user device itself does not run the game executable. It only decompresses video and sends user input to the cloud. So it enables lightweight devices like a laptop PC or smartphone to run high-end games. I will then present you the methodology we use to perform the evaluation and the analysis. We ran the test on two cloud gaming platforms, NVIDIA GeForce Now and Google Stadia. We also use the first-person shooter game Destiny 2 for both platforms. The characterization is based on the evaluation of the subjective quality of experience under various network conditions and also on the measurement of the end-to-end latency. We define the end-to-end latency as the time between a user action and the rendering of the corresponding frame on user screen. So it's the latency perceived by the end user. And to obtain the different network conditions, we degrade each network parameter one by one. The downlink network bandwidth, the network latency, the network jitter, and the packet loss. So to evaluate the subjective quality of experience, we define 4 criteria: image quality, image impairment level, image impairment frequency, and playability. For each criteria, a scale of 5 levels is used. ACR and DCR scales are well known for video quality subjective evaluation. For image impairments and for playability, we define our own scales based on the two first ones. The playability criteria is defined as: is it possible for the game tester to play normally, for example, to target and shot in a FPS game? We define as acceptable quality of experience a playability score equal or superior to 3. For a playability score of 3, it becomes slightly difficult to play, and from this score, the quality of experience is no more considered as acceptable. 5 game testers was involved in the evaluation. We acknowledge that this is quite a limited number of users, of testers, but it was not possible to have more testers due to the pandemic. Nevertheless, they represent a quite various panel of gamers, as the testers group is composed of 2 experienced gamers, 2 occasional ones, and 1 novice. And we thought that it could come to interesting observation and results. Note that in the paper and in the rest of the presentation, all the presented scores are the average of each tester scores. I will now give you some part of the evaluation results. This slide illustrates the part of the subjective evaluation of the quality of experience. So in the first graph, you can see the result obtained in ideal network conditions. Ideal network conditions means a network bandwidth, downlink network bandwidth greater than 90 megabits per second, a network latency less than 13 milliseconds, and a network jitter less than 2 milliseconds. The 2 other graphs, called added latency and added jitter, are obtained when degrading the parameter that is specified until the playability scores decrease to 3. So, for example, for the added latency, on the second graph, we increase network latency until the playability score lower to 3. For GeForce Now, it has been obtained with a network latency of 75 milliseconds. For Stadia, it has been obtained with a latency of 71 milliseconds. On the third graph, concerning the jitter, GeForce Now supports a jitter of 8 milliseconds and Stadia 4 milliseconds. We observed that network jitter has higher impact on quality and on experience than latency. We have also to notice that if the image quality scores are only slightly degraded for GeForce Now, it is not the case for Stadia. Stadia user experience is impacted by stuttering and by ping-pong effect. Stuttering is a lack of fluidity in frame rendering, and ping-pong effect is frequent and high image quality changes. On this slide, I want to present you some key highlights concerning the end-to-end latency. As said earlier in the presentation, the end-to-end latency is defined as the time between a user action and the rendering of the corresponding frame in the screen. The table presented here shows the end-to-end latency measured for the upper bound of supported network latency for each cloud gaming services. So for GeForce Now is 75 milliseconds and for Stadia 71 milliseconds. We obtain an end-to-end latency of about 200 milliseconds for GeForce Now. So we can notice that even with high end-to-end latency, GeForce Now achieves a quite good playability. There is some buffering that allows good and stable image quality. And so GeForce Now trades higher end-to-end latency for improved playability. In the next slides, we give you information on cloud gaming provider choices regarding video encoding and bandwidth adaptations. The table here gives an overview of the video encoding setting for each cloud gaming provider. How this information has been extracted? We find encoding settings by recording, decoding frame slices in DirectX Video Acceleration API on Windows, and also by the observations of video encoded range in motion and motionless sequences. GeForce Now uses H.264 codec in all situations, whereas Stadia sometimes uses H.264, sometimes use VP9 codec. We observe several effects of these choices and settings. The constant quality setting chosen by Stadia leads to high bitrate vibration. For VP9 without intra-refresh, each packet loss induces iframes in the video stream and resulting in peaks of network traffic. and also for VP9 with region of interest setting, fast movement generate video artifacts. For the analysis of the bandwidth adaptation algorithm, we use 3 bandwidth configurations: 10 megabits per second, 15 megabits per second, and unlimited bandwidth corresponding to ideal network condition. We then move from one configuration to another after the stabilization of the game quality. We come out with the following observation. In GeForce Now, there is a quick adaptation of the video encoding rate to the available network bandwidth. For Stadia, each configuration change triggers a ping-pong effect, where video is moving from one video encoding rate to another and fails to stabilize. This ping-pong effect has also been observed in another paper and that has been published in 1990. The Stadia ping-pong effect is also illustrated on the next slide. In this test, we first set the bandwidth to unlimited bandwidth, so ideal network condition, and then decrease it to 25 megabits per second. Stadia fails to find a stable encoded bitrate that fits with the available network bandwidth. It oscillates between 34 megabits per second and 15 megabits per second. So you can see the oscillation in the frame size, so in the bitrate, on the graph illustrated here. In this slide, we represent the key takeaways and some recommendations for possible next generation of cloud gaming services. One of the main outcomes of this evaluation concerns jitter and latency and is quite counterintuitive. Effectively, we conclude that it's worthwhile minimizing jitter with small buffering versus latency and thus achieving a better playability. Concerning the video encoding choices, the cloud gaming provider should favor a video encoding with a constant bitrate to achieve smooth image quality. And concerning bitrate adaptation, the cloud gaming provider should favor conservative bandwidth and small encoding adaptation steps rather than sudden and large test peaks. These last two recommendations can be explained by the fact that the user is really sensitive to frequent switch of video quality and to stuttering. Concerning the error resiliency, small additional buffer compensating for potential errors is beneficial. To conclude, we evaluated the quality of experience under various conditions, and in particular, the boundary condition to achieve acceptable quality of experience, focusing on playability. We analyzed also the bandwidth adaptation algorithms of the cloud gaming services and their video codec choices. And we finally came out with a set of key takeaways and recommendations. Thank you for your attention.